Chapter 12. The sounds of pure mayhem fade as the elevator descends. Pete and I are hunched over again, struggling to catch our breaths and settle down. Finally, we manage to calm a bit, and the elevator coasts to a stop, the doors sliding open. Here we are again, back in the deathly quiet, still illuminated laboratory reception area with all its metal walls, floor, and ceiling. Oh, and a corpse slumped at the desk, and another right down the dark hallway nearby, just like how we left it. Guess it's time to check in, I say. I'm not even sure where that came from or how I managed to dredge up even the tiniest smatter of humor. Although, when I think about it, after everything that just happened, I think a part of me needed to say something at least a little silly. Not even a glimmer of a smile from Pete, though. What now? Well, I guess we've got to wait it out. You know, wait for the police or government or whatever to finish destroying all of Grover Canyon State Park. And then we've got to wait some more until we're sure it's totally safe to come out there for us to leave. But what if it never is? I mean, that chopper saw us go in here. They know we're down here. What if they just camp out up there and wait for us to come out so they can kill us? Or what if they even come in here after us? A cold shiver ripples along my shoulders, freezing them solid. Ugh. This would be one of those times I'm not all too big a fan of Pete's mega-sized brain. Those are some pretty good and disturbing questions, all right. I don't know, Pete. I really don't. Hopefully the authorities, or whatever they are, don't know how to come down here. I mean, we got ridiculously lucky with that stupid password, Open Sesame. Or not, depending on whether us breaking into this laboratory in the first place is somehow tied to the insane shenanigans going on up there. I mean, what were the chances that would actually open the entrance to this freaky place? Yeah, I know. Either way, I don't think we have much of a choice but to wait. Pete glances at the lone button on the side of the elevator wall, then gives a long, heavy sigh. I guess you're right. So how long should we wait then? I shrug. I'm thinking at least a day, maybe until we absolutely need food or water or something, just to be completely on the safe side. He nods, his hair somehow looking even spikier and more out of control than before. Ugh, that's gonna stink. Maybe there's some food and water down here we could have. Even lab scientists gotta eat from time to time, right? I give him the most incredulous look I can muster. You want to eat food in a place where at least a couple corpses, of which we don't know how they died, are lying around? I mean, who's to say it's not something in the food that killed them in the first place? Plus, the corpses look pretty old, too, like at least a few years. So even if there is food down here, it might be way too stale or spoiled by now. Yeah, that might be true. You never know for sure, though. And with that, he leaves the elevator, his little shoes making light clacks on the metal floor. What are you doing? Exploring a bit. What else is there to do? Stay in the elevator and not get killed by whatever murdered those 2 lab workers. But I don't say that, I have to admit, though as much as a scaredy cat soup he can be sometimes, he can also be surprisingly brave. As if some of his courage rubbed off on me, I step out of the elevator, following him as he wanders toward the desk in the middle of the reception area. Not exactly the first place I'd like to scout out, what with the corpse and all, but I guess it's not a bad idea. Maybe we can find out more about what happened down here by taking a look at it. I keep my distance as Pete, as though on cue, hunches over the corpse, clearly making sure not to touch it. Well, it's definitely pretty old, at least a few years like you said, and tough to say, but its skin looks even waxier and more melted than a regular corpse would after that amount of time. It's kind of weird, actually. Although I guess it's partly mummified at this point because it's so dry down here. That would explain why it doesn't smell all that bad, too. Just a little musty. Wow, since when did Pete become such an expert on corpses? Well, I guess he is a science guy, and as much as I hate to admit it, he seems to be pretty good at it, unlike me. But like I said, tough to say. He hovers over the corpse for a moment longer, then starts moseying toward the dark hallway. I follow him, still keeping my gaze away from the desk corpse. Aha! He flicks a switch on the wall near the corridor, and a bright light floods the space, casting even more on the other gruesome corpse sprawled on the ground in the middle of it. Great. Can't escape these horrible, putrid things. At least this dead body is a little ways down the hallway. I check out the rest of the corridor. A few regular-looking metal doors, complete with knobs, line both sides, leading down to one at the very end that looks more like an elevator, only it's super wide, taking up the whole end, and the phrase Lab SE is written across the middle in large white paint. The much smaller phrase, Security Clearance Level 1, lies below that in yellow paint. I point out the elevator-like door to Pete. That must be the official lab, you know, where they actually studied or tinkered with whatever crazy dangerous substance or virus or whatever they have down here. Because seriously, given the dead bodies and the fact this place is buried deep underground, who knows what the scientists had been busy doing. Whatever it was, it couldn't have been harmless, though. That's for sure. And it looks like you might need some kind of special keycard or passcode or something to access it. Though I don't see a scanner or terminal or anything beside the door. Yeah, looks like it. Pete's whole body is trembling a bit as he drifts to the first door on the left side of the hall. Good for him, still exploring despite being a little freaked out. At least, I hope it's safe to be doing this. The door sports a small label that says Security. He tries the knob, it twists, and the door opens easily. He peeks inside. Yep, a security room. He lets me take a look next. As expected, it's a small space, the light from the corridor faintly illuminating 2 rows of monitors on the opposite wall, which are all off, totally black. In front of them are a couple of comfortable-looking chairs with corpses sitting in them. The only way I can tell is because of the whites of the tops of their heads poking above the backs of the seats. Nothing to see here, Pete says. I agree, but that terrible, slithery feeling slides underneath my skin again. Man, I murmur. Seriously, what in the flaming heck killed all these people? And clearly when they'd be right in the middle of doing their jobs. This is just getting sicker and sicker. And scarier. I wish I knew, Sandy. I wish I knew. I'm starting to wonder if we really should be walking around like this, no matter how bored we might get or how old these corpses might appear. Maybe we should just stay put in the elevator and wait 24 hours. But as frightening and gross as this whole exploring thing is, I can't help but want to continue anyway, find out what really happened down here. I softly close the door and we head to the next one on the left along the hall. Thankfully, the corpse splayed out on the ground in the middle of the corridor is still a ways ahead. I'm not looking forward to eventually getting close to it, that's for sure. This door's label reads, Dr. Sarah Kahn, Chief Scientist. Ah, I say. Looks like this is the office of the person in charge of this whole freak show. Pete nods as he twists the knob, and the door also thankfully opens. As expected, an office about as big as the security room lies inside. It's a ton homier, though, with a large cherrywood desk with a black leather chair behind it against one wall. There's no corpse in the chair, though. In fact, there's not a single corpse in the whole room. The first time we haven't seen one. Oh, thank God. There's also a comfortable-looking brown leather couch shoved against the wall opposite the desk. A small white canvas hangs above it with the cursive phrase, Magnum Health is my solace, painted on it in soothing turquoise. This room is so relaxing, so inviting, so wonderfully death-free and different than the others so far that I can't help but immediately drift inside. And before I know it, I've slumped my poor, aching body on the leather couch. I don't realize how insanely tired I am until just now. Pete plops himself in the leather chair at the desk, and then it all comes rushing back to me. In a matter of seconds, everything that happened ever since Pete and I went on our fateful walk this afternoon. Walking by the creepy couple, exploring the overgrown path, the first time we entered the lab, the corpses lying in the pitch dark, the cops trying to shoot us, the all-black helicopters blowing up the whole park, including Mom and Dad's cabin. Mom and Dad. Now they're all I can think about. Their smiling faces, all the holiday and family vacations we spent together, all the home-cooked and take-out meals Pete and I had with Dad since Mom was always still busy at the Farm Corps office. And then one time with Dad in particular flashes through my mind. One terrible memory I'd always hated but now hate more than ever.